Alright, went for a power hike today. Like, really power hike, especially the first mile uphill. Really took its toll on me, way out of shape. And that's probably my biggest point of contention with this whole thing, is how out of shape I let myself get. So I'm doing my best to aim this GoPro. So, out of shape has a lot to do with a lot of things other than physical activity. It has to do with how you eat. So we're going to look at one of the last few healthy things I believe I eat and why it's still a little bit unhealthy. And we're going to do a recipe for a buttered chicken shrimp dish. Now, I know the shrimp are a super high cholesterol entity. Oh, we're getting there. Okay, now it's time to start getting peppers in. Sorry, just listening for the sizzle. And I moderate them hugely. And I've already been doing that, which is one of my concerns, because along with the blood pressure, you know, you're supposed to change your diet and get more exercise. I'm going to be relying more on exercise because my diet has hugely been changed. However, that being said, the last time I went to the doctor, my cholesterol is all out of kabuki. There were a lot of heavy-duty things introduced into my diet that I really moderated. There was a lot of cheese. There was a ton of beef. And I'm really not a beef eater to start with. A lot of, like, cheese and crackers. So the crackers are another one, because they were primarily Ritz crackers, which are really high fat content. You know, there were snack foods, a lot of dairy. So before I go back, I'm getting myself a little bit better back in line to see if that actually did anything for me, because my cholesterol has been borderline high for a while. I did smoke for 30 years. I quit, I think, about 10 years ago, maybe 12. I think. And that's going to have an impact on things, I'm sure. But we're going to start getting back to where we were before, because I did, around 8 years ago, I was beautifully in line. Just before COVID, I had gotten a little fat, but my cholesterol was a little high. But I got myself down into the 250 range. I think I was 254. My cholesterol was ab fab. I did do a sonogram screening. That's just olive oil heated up. And now I'm sauteing some pepper, so you know where we're going here. But I did a screening, and it showed that I do have a tiny bit of blockage in my carotid arteries. Everything else seems clear. I have taken a cardiac stress test. I did that a couple of years ago, and the ticker seems to be sound, which is very important. But again, now we're in high blood pressure, so first and foremost thing I can do is weight and exercise. Those are the first two things. Then get my diet back to where it should be. When I made that first video, I don't know if I'm, at this point, I don't know if I'm posting that with a bit of a running on the beach with my dogs. It was very nominal, but that was yesterday. And I had to drive 6 hours to get home to New York from Cape Cod, which was an 8-hour drive. We were stopping here and there, and we stopped and we had nice fresh fish at a place called Kyler's in New Bedford, Massachusetts, right on the water. They got their own, it's a real big fish house, fish factory / fish market, and they serve food, really good food. Not the best for you, was fried fish, but fish nonetheless. So that was that. Guarantee you that they didn't fry that in olive oil. So anyway, here's what we got going here. This is 1 bell pepper and 1 red pepper, and they are being sauteed in olive oil. This is, and I don't have 2 to spare here, so I did 1 1 sweet onion. You might know them as Vidalia onions, which is a brand name. Me personally, I use sweet onions from Pine Island, New York, or Warwick Valley, the Black Dirt region, between Warwick and Goshen. Beautiful area. Traditionally Polish farmers there. They came and drained the swamps as immigrants, and great produce comes out of there. Onion capital of the world. Well, so they say. You know what I'm saying. Alright, so anyway, here's what we're doing. We're going with the Sweet Bells green and red. We're going to let them get a little bit of soft before we put the onions in. Excuse my kitchen's a mess. After the onions go in, they're going to get a little soft. We're going to go with like a big heaping tablespoon of garlic. And we have habaneros, green habaneros, and jalapenos. They go in. Everything gets cooked until it's sauteed and bringing up the sugars and, you know, doing the sweet thing. I do not cook ever with salt. It's the one spice I don't use. I do use a lot of traditional Indian spices. I use cardamom, I use cumin, I use turmeric, I use paprika, I use crushed red pepper, I use ground red pepper, I use cayenne pepper, I use chili powder, any of the currying spices I use. But in this particular case, I'm cheating a little bit. And I'm sure it has a ton of salt in it, but nothing else does. So as far as like my health goes, I don't know where that stands, but it's healthier than what most people eat. And it is Inspirations Butter Chicken Simmer Sauce. Paddock's makes a good one. I particularly like the Inspirations. I have not looked at the ingredients in it. I'm sure that it's got a lot of crap that's really bad for the direction I'm going. But I'm hoping that all the au naturel stuff, you know, all these hot peppers are garden fresh, farm fresh onion, store-bought. The bell peppers, I got them at the store. I didn't have the opportunity to get to a farm stand this time of year, which does make a big difference if you have like a really, truly organic farm. If you look at all of my beans, they're all low sodium or no salt added. That's kind of important. A lot of that stuff is seasoned. Tidbits and 100% pineapple juice. I drink the pineapple juice. So this is what we're cooking. Before we start, I got to get the shrimp out and give them a little bit of a rinse. These are starting to reduce down a little bit. Whenever you cook any of these vegetables, they got a lot of water in them, and the water comes out. Let's get our shrimp fresh from the ocean, courtesy of Kyler's. They are beautiful. We're going to just give them a rinse and a little bit of fresh water. If you don't cook seafood, I'm going to teach you a really important seafood lesson right here. If I can get this open. Holy moly, Kyler's. What kind of super lid is this? Maybe I'm not having shrimp tonight. Come on. Oh, there we go. First off, any seafood should never smell fishy. Second off, it's usually the overarching idea is don't ever let it get wet with fresh water until you're ready to cook it. I just like to rinse things off a little bit. Force a habit. I don't even know if it makes a difference, especially how these are going to get cooked. Alright. That's roughly a pound of, what are these, U16s? Yeah, these are 16, so 16s means, U16s means roughly 16 shrimps a pound. I prefer to get 24s. They're a little bit smaller. Higher the number, the smaller the shrimp. And I like 24s because it usually is a nice match volume-wise for when you're cooking. Like they mix nicely, you know what I mean? I have made this same kind of dish with U8s, which are gigantic, and whole sea scallops, which are also gigantic. So, but you need a bigger pan, a broader pan, so that when you do them, they can all get on the heat faster at the same time. Now, if you're doing this and you're getting a little burning on the bottom of your pan, what helps a lot is when you put something with a lot of water in it, like those onions have a lot of water in them. You swish everything around, and usually the water will take it right out of the pan. Ooh, that smells so good. Now I'm going to do something here. I have probably about 3-4 tablespoons of oil in the bottom of this, and I'm just going to add another squirt, probably about a tablespoon. Maybe that was more like a teaspoon. And you get used to these measurements if you do this a lot over time. Again, I use olive oil, one of the healthier things for you to cook with. You're saying it's fried, but olive oil, okay to use. And we're going to get this heated up. I'm going to get the other peppers in and garlic. And we'll get them softened up a little bit. Got to get these onions going a little bit. Ooh, smells so good. I'm going to get the smaller diced peppers. The hot peppers are diced much smaller. And that is not an accident. Because I want them to be able to mix better into the mix of things, you know, into the overall sauce. Smells so good. I'm gonna need a tablespoon. For the garlic. What we'll do is we'll you're going to see me doing certain things, like this is going to be used for the garlic, and that's why it's going in there. I won't put that on the counter. I won't put it on anything, then put it in the garlic, which goes back in the refrigerator. I'm really big on not cross-contaminating. If you were to ask my wife, she will tell you I'm a little too big on that. She thinks I'm a little too uptight about it, but stored food, you know. Alright. That's all the hot stuff. I'm going to use this little cutting board one more time to cut up a pound of tofu. Ooh, a lot of heat coming off those peppers now in there, I'll tell you. Okay. Gonna drop in a huge old tablespoon of minced garlic. I can stay there for now. Oh, that smells so good. Now, when you get those hot peppers in there, though, sometimes, like it just happened to me, Ooh, that's steam. She's loaded with the vapor. And I'll clean it right out. It's like pepper spray. Now, what you're going to see me do here is I am looking at the bottom of my pan. And because the shrimp is the next thing to go in, what I'm going to do is we're going for 1 more tablespoon olive oil. And that's maybe even a little heavy, but that's kind of important. Not really. What's 2 tablespoons about? Just so you know. Let's cool it up there. Because now this is all up, hot and sizzling. And then the next thing to go in is we're going to tip that up to 7. Now, you can pay attention to me. When these shrimp go in, you're going to be busy. Okay? Just make sure there's, okay. Yeah. You got to be busy on the stern when the shrimp hit the pot. I do this with chicken. You better be busy on the stern when the chicken hits the pot. You got to keep them moving. Got to make sure there's just enough oil in there. Not too much, not too little. Just enough. You can see how they're immediately turning red. And I'm sorry, hon, I'm recording something. What'd you say? I don't have my pagers in my bucket truck. So anyway. Yeah, you see they're turning red. We got to get them down to the bottom. Let them sit. It smells really good.